me take you to the new finder, which is with a story this morning. No Ghana card, no service. And we're talking about the Lands Commission. If you are going to register land or your land going forward in a few weeks or so, we are told that if you don't have Ghana card, you will not receive a service. Also, light crop cocoa import dates back to 2005 for commercial reasons. And Jinapo urges African countries to tie foreign investment to value addition. Some other stories on the front page this morning.
The Daily Graphic says, cement regulation takes effect. No new factories without license. Existing companies to re-register. VAT on electricity. ICU questions government late engagement with Labour. And Jospon and Russian University have signed an educational deal. And on the back page of the Daily Graphic, updates from the AFCON as South Africa and Cote d'Ivoire go through drama to get to the last four of the AFCON.
The Ghanaian Times says this morning, Novel Education Initiative. Jospon offers 600 scholarships to students, partners, as you said, the university and some folks from Russia. Also on the front page, we're told carpenter jailed 10 years for defiling 13-year-old girl. That's not good. TUC threatens a nationwide demo on February 13, and they're calling on government to come to the table for dialogue, or government is calling them for dialogue. And president replaces 26 district and municipal chief executives.
The Daily Guide's biggest story says government drops 15% killer ECG VAT. Digitalization has transformed economy and governance, according to Madam Samira Baumia. Delegates oppose Ekwapim primary delay. Lands Commission revenue up by 12%. And the other angle of Sky's story on the president sacking the MMDCEs. It says Nana names 26 new DCEs.
The Chronicle, Baumia is far better than Mahama. This is according to Kofi Bento, who is with Imani Ghana. He's saying his own thing. Charlie, brothers are angry.
It's trending.
Ghana has been importing cocoa since 2000. Cocoa Board making that assertion. And Jinapo is again quoted here on issues of mining.
The Herald says MPP national execs fall out with the Akufo-Addo government as they reject Oforia test on popular emission levy and VAT on electricity. The Akufo-Addo shakes up local governance to re-energize party, but ...
There's a big but.
And it says NPP's grassroots fraternity supports national organizers' positive defiance.
There's the disturbing story on the front page of the Daily Searchlight with the Minister for National Security wearing dark and in suit. And the story says security staff in tears at Jubilee House. Pay by tabletop. Outdated, identity cards cause grave concern. Also on the front page this morning, the reaction to the Cocoa Board, allegation that Cocoa Board is importing things, cocoa beans into the country. They are denying that. And then also...
No, they're actually saying it's been happening. And it's not like they're denying the import.
Yeah, so the claim was that they were importing.
Yeah.
They denied that. They said
companies...
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And then GWCL is denying contract for supply of disinfectant for water treatment.
All right, the new publisher also has a lot of the other stories that we've seen, but unique stories. Ministers, deputy CEOs to get fired. That's the new one.
Yes.
And it says Mahama avoids his exact position on anti-LGBT bill, simply says he's Christian and does not support homosexuality. That's what they are saying. And Menshia bans political colours at Otumfuo Silver Jubilee.
Right. The Inquisitor says illegal occupation of office. Amish, which is Amish Adai, right? Pushes for security. He's here on the front page with the President of the Republic. Who partners Baumia? DPF research reveals Napo as front runner. And Napo is here on the front page together with the Vice President, smiling and listening to each other. And he's holding a cap. Also something here that says that what Protozoa on Thanksgiving tour versus religious body.
Who is Protozoa?
One of the, I think he won his primary 2 weekends ago.
Okay.
But they usually, I don't know why they don't mention his name. But
maybe it's very popular as Protozoa. The Ghanaian publisher.
If you go to the publisher, again, the Ekwapim South matter. The people there are not happy with the delay in the MPP primary elections. Also, fear grips ministers as Akufo-Addo fires 24 MMDCEs. As for the ministers, plenty of them must go home. Ayoko unveils a vision for Commonwealth. That's on the front page. And our man, Akoto Efriye, to speak on the agri sector. As what?
Interesting. All right.
I'll ask you.
Yes. let
As
me-
what? That's the question.
That's the question.
As a former minister. As the former minister.
Anyway, let me go through the Republic.
After all this. Maybe he wear Wellington boots. This guy is
Put his hand by the way.
And bring
I know, Shally.
and bring some ablajo. You know what I mean?
Not that they have been free supply.
Anyway, the Republic Press, The Anchor, and Today, they've got similar. So the Republic Press, for example, Nana Sachs 24 MMDCs and other stories. The unique story says, Alan Chemanting, I'm fighting a noble cause to bring economic prosperity. The Anchor newspaper has similar stories. Plus, they've even dropped pictures of some of the MMDCs who have been fired. And Baumia to
So
speak
my
on
Adenta
Ghana's-
MC is gone.
Oh, bro.
Godfrey's East Patrick Kumo is gone.
Oh, Charlie.
Kofredia MC is gone.
Slow.
Plenty of this.
Elizabeth Kaki man and things.
Charlie is gone.
Slow. Anyway, it says Baumia speaks on Ghana's next chapter tomorrow. And on the Today newspaper, Mahama says collapsing GN Bank tragic and PPP to address Ghanaians tomorrow on national issues.
All right.
Very finally from me, Energy Digest says tour on revival path. It says Akufo-Addo also ECG charges on free electricity consumers. And something here that talks about Nana Akufo-Addo commissioning the Central Oil Refinery and tax collection challenges in downstream petroleum sector.
All right, finally from me, the BNFT GSE poised for second double-digit return. Investors capitalize on high returns amid declining T-bills, and the World Bank ECOWAS fund 2 million broiler project production is on page 2 of the BNFT.
Let me take you online. Citi Newsroom for a quick wrap-up of stories there. Police arrest 25 people for attacking officers in Kwewu. So there's disturbance in Kwewu as 2 people killed during confrontation with police. Now, MPP apologizes over Yendi MP's assault on Citi FM news reporter. And then the stories that you heard, government has dropped the VAT on electricity. A tax analyst says emissions levy, government is not being fair to Ghanaians. And then Sami Jenvi jabs Kofi Bento for calling on Ghanaians to give Baumia a hearing. And then the other stories about Cocoa. Meanwhile, Okutetua Blackwell is calling on Ghanaians or the government to disband Black Stars coach search committee after the AFCON loss. Now, there's another one here I need to bring to your attention. 14 Lands Commission staff interdicted for stamp duty fraud. All right? 14 of them, all on citinewsroom.com. Now, if you go to myjoyonline.com, only a withdrawal of the VAT directive can stop us from demonstrating. Clocksack executive. Meanwhile, IPGG CEO says electricity prices may go up following implementation of emissions levy. And then there's a troubling story in West Africa. Senegal's Macky Sall postpones presidential elections. That story is set a lot of tongues wagging around what this means for stability in one of West Africa's best democracies to date. All right. And then a few more stories globally. If you go to Reuters, US intends further strikes on Iran-backed groups. National Security Advisor says Bloomberg is also talking about South Africa's election that's coming up 2024. They are heading for coalition after the 2024 election. Also on that website. Star FM lead story, MPP wants government to drop VAT on electricity. We've seen that story already. And then if you go to Class FM, they are talking about Akufo-Addo mourning the late Namibian president who died aged 83. All right. Now, those are some of the stories making the rounds. Let's get into the details.
Okay, so let me take you to the story about the Ghana Cat situation that is at the National Lands Commission. Now, if you go to page 8 of the New Finder, Selom Bobiji writes from Accra that the Executive Secretary of the Lands Commission, Benjamin Arthur, has indicated that the Commission will soon refuse its services to persons who do not have the Ghana card. Now, this is part of the Commission's strategic moves to curtail the activities of middlemen and prevent land fraud. Now, the Commission is working closely with the National Identification Authority, NIA, to eliminate undesirable middlemen in the land administration space, using the Ghana card for verification of grantors and grantees. Now, collaborating with the NIA in the verification process would assist in ensuring that the Commission dealt and communicated directly with the grantors and the grantees, or grantors, as some people pronounce it, on record at any given time, and not only their agents or middlemen. You know, this is happening at a time we keep talking about the telecos or
Yes.
yeah, that's right, the banks.
Yes, I'll come to that story
yeah,
later on. But the Lands Commission, since you are there, they've interdicted 14 staff for their involvement in stamp duty fraud. Fraud was detected in May 2022 when the audit unit of the commission realized that the tax figures being paid by some property owners for the registration of their lands or properties failed to reflect the expected amount. The fraud allegedly involved 100 million Ghana City tax loss. The affected staff are being taken through the court processes by the National Investigations Bureau. So that's a story from the Lands Commission.
Okay, still within the space of our ID cards and related matters. If you go to page 10 of the new finder, births and death registry records 663,223 deaths in 2023. Story on page 10, two paragraphs from that story. The births and death registry recorded 663,223 births between January and December 2023. Mr. Adam Zigna Abdullah, public relations officer of the births and death registry, has disclosed. Now, the registry also recorded 53,671 deaths within the same
Now, government has dropped the controversial VAT on electricity and set to engage IMF on a shortfall. This is Citi News reporting from yesterday. Now, reports suggest that the government has opted to cancel the imposition of the 15% VAT on electricity. This decision, which relieves consumers from the new tax on electricity bills, is said to have been born out of a cabinet meeting on Friday, February the 2nd. Now, the MPP party also posted it on its handle on X, suggesting that this has happened.
You did not think through it before Parliament.
Well, the backlash. So Parliament approved this, but
Right.
the MPP's executives themselves have taken issue with this. TUC has taken issue with this. Guta has taken issue with this. Most analysts have said it's a very bad tax, and it appears the government has listened to reason. We don't know, though, if this applies to the emissions levy, which has been implemented. The Guta is kicking against the emissions levy. So although the VAT on electricity is gone, Guta is kicking against the VAT on the emissions levy, which is a flat payment for registering your vehicles. Now, the Ghana Union of Traders Association has strongly opposed the proposed implementation of an emissions levy. Guta believes that the introduction of this and the VAT on electricity will burden businesses, exacerbating the already high cost of doing business in the country. In a statement, Dr. Joseph Obing, not Edu, said the Guta strongly opposes the proposed implementation of VAT on electricity and the implementation of the emissions tax due to the detrimental economic consequences it would bring. Nathan.
Well, let's get to the Republic Press. And they are saying the president, since you mentioned cabinet decisions, over the weekend, the president dropped a bomb on the head of some MMDCEs. Now, he ordered the immediate dismissal of some 24 MMDCEs, dashing their hopes of serving till the end of his term with him. This is on the front page of the Republic Press. The decision was made in accordance with Article 243(3)(b of the Constitution and a section of and Section 23(b) of the Local Government Act. Now, the sudden move has left many questioning the reasons behind the president's decision.
Now, the Anchor's version has some photos. You can go through that.
Yes.
And I need to make a correction. So, Kofredo MC is still at post. It's the Efiduase MC who's been removed. So, if you can give us the details just by pictures.
Yes, so some of the pictures on the front page of the Anchor. Mr. Patrick Kumo is here. He's MC for Wage Agbawi. Nino Adumo, MC for Adenta, is also here. Elizabeth Kakiman, Gan East MCE, Gan Central MCE, Bashiru Kamara, and some other personalities here. Now, on page 2 of the Anchor, they go into details. They even have pictures of the memo or the notice from the president. They have another picture stating the nominations or the replacement. And the Anchor also adds that there are reports of a ministerial reshuffle.
Is it? So is this the prelude to a ministerial reshuffle?
Well,
because don't forget, the General Secretary of the MPP had called for this. It looks like for the next few weeks, we'll see positions taken by the MPP party, which may be different from the government position.
Yeah, some
the
people
way
say that
Nanabi came out to say they oppose this VAT on electricity, the General Secretary has come to say they want the reshuffle. It appears the president will be forced to take a lot of decisions to favor his candidate because it looks like a lot of the decisions they're taking now are worsening the situation for the MPP in the election.
In the meantime, though, we are told that fear is gripping ministers as Akufo-Addo fires 24 MMDCEs. That story is in the Ghanaian Publisher. And basically, they are jumping on the dismissal of those 24 or so MMDCEs to say that a number of ministers in the current government are set to be removed, basically, over what the president may well be doing, which is reshuffling his cabinet. And because of that, they are picking up signals that ministers are afraid, or some of them are.
Now,
afraid,
the cocoa story is also
because of
big.
that story.
There are two cocoa stories. Ghana to import 2,500 tons of cocoa from Ivory Coast and 1,000 from Nigeria. This story was making rounds on social media, and the impression was that it meant that Ghana's cocoa production, of course, Ghana's cocoa production is low. We're expecting 800,000 tons, we got 600,000. But the nature of the circulation suggested that the cocoa processing companies didn't even have enough cocoa beans. Now, Cocoa is explaining that they've been importing cocoa since the year 2000. Some of the reasons is that apparently Ghana's cocoa is premium. So cocoa produced here, you need to mix with cocoa from other places before you get the right mix. So what Cocoa is saying is that we've been doing this for the past 23 years, and it's not necessarily because... So Cocoa itself is not importing the cocoa. They're giving the companies the license to do the importation. And it's... So even though our cocoa production output has been low compared to most years, the reason for the importation is to get the right blend. But we are also told that some of the companies are not getting the beans at all. For which reason people are concerned that how can a sector that the MPP came to power and made lots of promises. I remember he brought Dr. Friye on your show, 2015. He says, he will bring cocoa back to Ministry of Agric and production will go up because the previous government has put cocoa under Ministry of Finance. To have the lowest cocoa yield in years, to have the lowest amount of money for loan, to have the highest interest rate. It is an atrocious cocoa situation.
It's been a horrible performance. And in fact, if you look at it, under the NDC rule, they took cocoa production to 1 million or so tons. And it was globally celebrated.
Well, now your former minister said he's going to give a speech.
Really?
So maybe he will explain. Nathan has our papers. Where are you going?
Well, of course. I mean, some of the papers have covered. A lot of the things have been covered as we've done. I've gone through some of the papers.
Okay, then should I take you to the Jubilee House? Because the Searchlight is claiming this morning that you staff there are not happy. Now, the story is on page 2. And it says that a section of the security staff operating at the Jubilee House are lamenting about the strange conditions under which they work. Now, first, they claim that their identity cards have not been renewed for some time, a fact that affects them when they produce their identity under question. Now, secondly, they claim that they are paid their monthly salaries on tabletops instead of through official channels, which means that what they receive may firstly not be what they are actually due, and secondly, they may not be paying taxes, and and then thirdly, they may not be receiving benefits like social security. So this is a disturbing story, and that's right. The Minister for National Security is here on the front page. I hope that he will do something about the situation.
Well, page 3 of the Chronicle has a story that generated a lot of chit-chat over the weekend. Mr. Kofi Bentil, Vice President of Imani Africa, a policy think tank, has made a strong case for the candidature of Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia ahead of the 2024 elections. He wants Ghanaians to give Dr. Bawumia a chance as president like they gave Mahama and Nana Akufo-Addo, but not to go back to someone they rejected on 2 occasions after giving him just a term in office. According to him, giving the two main aspirants, the Vice President, Dr. Bawumia, stands tall over former President John Mahama, who Ghanaians rejected in 2016 and 2020. Okay,
let me take you though to page 4 of the Inquisitor newspaper. They have a story talking about who should partner Dr. Bawumia, and the Diaspora Patriotic Forum, which is DPF, a crucial think tank for the new patriotic party abroad, has conducted a comprehensive week-long opinion poll regarding the MPP's 2024 vice presidential candidate. Now, with 621 participants utilizing the secure survey monkey pool tool, the results have revealed a significant preference for Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, affectionately called Napo, as the favored running mate to Dr. Bawumia.
We're talking about Dr. Bawumia. He speaks tomorrow at the UPSA.
I thought it was 7th.
Well, 7th. 7th is...
Tomorrow, right?
So today is 5th. Wednesday. So this paper has it wrong. So Wednesday, Dr. Bawumia is speaking there. According to reports in the Anchor, or from the Anchor, Dr. Bawumia will focus his attention more on his digitalization agenda.
I hope you speak to the mobile money thing that he has.
Maybe we have to rehash that point for them to remember. We look like they've forgotten. Now, Senegal has some issues. Reuters is reporting that Senegal's President Macky Sall on Saturday announced the postponement of the presidential election originally scheduled for February 25. Now, President Sall on Saturday postponed the country's election, announcing that he had cancelled the relevant electoral law in a televised address to the nation, citing a dispute over the candidate list.
Does he have the authority?
Senegalese voters are due to choose a successor to President Sall, who is not seeking a third term, or who has said he's not seeking a third term. For the first time in Senegal's history, the incumbent is not on the ballot. His handpicked successor, Prime Minister Amadou Ba, is among 20 candidates declared by the Constitutional Council to run. Senegal has never delayed presidential vote. It's for largely peaceful transitions of power via the ballot box since independence from France in 1960, have built up its reputation as one of West Africa's most stable democracies. But now we're seeing potential trouble. There's also a key opposition candidate who they were trying to prevent from running. All of that happening within the past few days, making Senegal a very, very interesting place to observe.
No, I think that should not be allowed. You see, he came to office as a former minister. There were issues around the elections at that time. But, I mean, the world supported him.
Oh, yes.
I think he should be a shining example. It should not be...
There's another version of the story that
tainted
says Senegalese
legacy
legislators will vote on the matter.
Yeah, I don't think... there are issues with-
And he can't taint Senegal's credentials because, I mean, if you look at Francophone West Africa, they seem to be the almost like the outlier, really, because they have gone through several elections and they are huge champions of democracy and the process. So
There's already
I hope
protests.
they-
Khalifa Sall, former mayor of Dakar, has urged people to protest against the move.
Yeah.
And his political coalition has pledged to go to court. But Karim Wade, former President Wade's son, seems to agree. It's all kinds of crazy things going on. We just need to keep an eye on this. Meanwhile, ECOWAS has 3 fewer members.
Yeah.
All right. And that's ECOWAS has also expressed concern about the situation in Senegal, by the way.
It's wrong.
And we hope to see some action on that front.
They should send a delegation there to put something into his head.
no.
That's not completely unacceptable.
Surgical operation. I tell you there, you believe in military intervention, pal.